In a time facing the pressures of global competition, in one arena, the United States of America still reigns supreme, feeding the world. And in large parts of America's heartland, corn is king. Now, with an ever-growing population and declining prices for their crop, farmers are forced to do more with less, or go bust. Every year, America's corn farmers do battle, not just against unfavorable markets, mechanical challenges, and Mother Nature herself, but they engage in a contest against each other to see who can grow the most corn per acre. This is Corn Wars.
Okay, I think we're ready to move.
Now nothing works.
Corn Wars, so we'll be duking it out. That's right. So we're kind of down until we figure out what's going on here.
I guess it's what you say, it's in your blood.
Matt Swanson, live here in La Harpe, Illinois, which is western Illinois, about 10 miles off the Mississippi River. I mean, you go from flat and black to rolling hills. Here, it doesn't get much better, I guess, in my view. My grandfather's grandparents bought the farm in 1903, and successive generations have basically lived here ever since then. My grandparents lived here when I was born. We moved out here when I was 10, and I've basically lived here ever since. Generation 6 is living at my house right now. So I've got 3 little boys, so they come out and ride. Actually, the little one this spring, he fell asleep on the track. He sat about 10 days straight. He was in the tractor all day long and slept and ate and everything there. So he's getting broken in early. So for the last 5 generations, we've been growing mostly corn and soybeans. We grow some wheat and some double crop triticale, as well as raised cattle. And it's just one or two things, one or two little things can make a big difference when you're doing what we're trying to do. Let's see how it goes. Push the envelope and see what we end up with. So Dad and I have worked together since I got back from the Army, so that was 2008. Fall of 2008. And since then, you know, we've worked together. Some days it's easier than others, as working with family often is. There's not a whole lot better job to have than to be able to work with your family on, you know, on your own property. It's kind of a dream job for us anyway. So after high school in 2004, I graduated in 2004. My cousin was actually killed in the invasion of Iraq in 2003. So that kind of was one of those formative moments you have where you kind of have to decide what you're going to do. And the farm economy at the time was good, but it wasn't great. Because my grandfather was served during the Korean War, so it's one of those things where it's kind of a family thing. As guys start to do it, their families generally continue to do it. In 2004, I joined the Army. I was 17 years old. My parents had to sign the paperwork for that. And so in December of 2005, we left for Iraq. Iraq didn't go real smoothly for me. About 2 months after we got there, I received my first Purple Heart. Approximately 4 months later, we hit an IED, which caused me to be evac to the hospital there in Baghdad for Purple Heart number 2. Because I was a member of an infantry company, so we were on the front line all the time. The area we were in at the time hadn't had a Allied presence for almost 3 years since the invasion. you know, everybody worries about the people showing up at their front door, and I told them, you know, at the time, I said, as long as you're getting a phone call, we're still good, you know. But I don't think they were, when I told them that, I don't think they anticipated 2 of those phone calls coming, I guess. So, but we mostly survived anyway. We're still here, so. Yesterday we did a 54 entry hybrid plot right here. And then I finished this field and started the one we're gonna be in this morning, so. All things considered, should go pretty smoothly. You guys showed up, it could turn into a train wreck, I have no idea.
Last year, we were first in Illinois in all divisions at 315 bushel. I thought we could do better. This year, we're on a quest for 400 bushel corn. Push the envelope. Do things you haven't done before. Try new things, do yield checks and research. At the end of the season, running the combine, if you see that monitor pushing over 300 and pumping good corn out, you know you've done your job. Grew up on a farm and just always enjoyed it. I guess it's what you say, it's in your blood. To me, it was just natural. I love to work. I love the work of farming. Never bothered me to get dirty and get a lot done in a day. It's a way of life, and it's a good way of life. And I love farming. It takes an awful lot to get started in farming today. I mean, it takes a massive amount of capital and it takes a lot of knowledge. Well, I've got 2 sons and one's not interested in it and one is. Well, I've been trying to help him a lot as he's getting started. A young guy about needs someone helping him, you know, and I'm glad to do it. Some people do probably have a misconception about farming, about just what it takes. A lot of people don't realize the amount of time and investment it takes.
For instance, like that tractor up there, that's I don't know, $600,000 machine, brand new. Don't maintenance them, they'll break down in some form. Anything that breaks costs money. Not getting in there. And because it's green, it costs extra money. When I was about, I don't know, 8 years old, we built a house out on the farm, and Dad built a shop there, and we kind of started rolling. Might curse his name sometimes, but I love the guy. He's taught me about everything I know.
Good boy.
I guess I didn't know what I wanted to do when at the end of high school, and I decided to pursue a degree in agriculture because it's just kind of what I knew. I thought maybe I'd get a job somewhere else. I'd come home and it'd just feel better. My dad's out here doing all this, a bunch of things that a lot of other people don't do. I'm just trying to learn the basics pretty much. Halfway through my first year of college, I lost my mom, and that really made me think how important family is. You talk to them and you kind of just take that for granted.
Like somebody was just spraying, but we got rain for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday now?
And Thursday. I guess.
I thought it was supposed to be dry all week.
Well, it was until yesterday. Every time I look, it seems like it's different. I got to shut that off. Yeah, I think I'm done. I got the seed loaded. Okay, I think we're ready to move.
A break in the weather has finally allowed Matt a chance to plant. But it won't last long.
Going. Before we get started, we've got to hook our fertilizer supply lines up and our agitation lines to keep everything in suspension. That way nothing will settle out and should have a pretty good blend going forward here. One of the reasons we're just getting started here, which is later than a lot of guys, you know, admittedly. One of the reasons we do that is because we want to get the seed emerged, get a strong start right from the jump. And that's something we can't do if that seed has undergone a lot of stress, causes issues sometimes. So that's why we're just starting today when a lot of guys in my area are pretty close to being done, if they're not done. So. We're equipped enough that I can go when the time is right, so that's what we do. Got a little failure. Looks like it was just dragging. Looks like we broke a zip tie and we're holding it. So. Hoses. All the cuss words, just all of them all at once.
With a compressed planting season, mechanical breakdowns take on extra urgency. He needs to get planted before rains force him back out of his fields.
So I guess the one thing we could do is just set it up. And we could go to Farm King and get, assuming they have enough of them, get a flanged hose bar. Well, we might have one. Get a flanged hose bar, cut that hose down, put a regular valve in it. Only thing is, do we have enough good hose left to?
Like this?
Of that other to make it match. Well, yeah, I mean this heavier hose. Because then you cut some of that off. Before we started, didn't you cut some off? So all we need is a new clamp. We've got the gaskets laying over there, and we just need to find a splice.
Major malfunction here.
You can do whatever you want to do. If you want to grow organic, then grow organic. If you want to grow non-GMO, and grow non-GMO. Each person needs to decide what they want to do and just do it. I'm not a big feed the world guy, you know. At the end of the day, that's exactly what we're doing. And you can say, well, you know, what you're really doing is raising fuel. And what you're going to do, there's too many people that are hungry, really hungry. To go around raising the cost of food for them. I've been to places where people are really hungry. It's a different environment. Yeah, I do stuff to make money, but we're not going to jeopardize our livelihood or our health or our family's health to do it. Yeah, nitrates, phosphorus runoff, even just straight erosion. Soil takes too long to replace to watch it run down the river.
I think he's always going to want to outdo himself a little bit.
First time I ever entered an NCGA contest was 2 years ago. Kind of did it for the fun of it. Didn't really expect to do anything, didn't really try to do anything, and we got third in Illinois. That heightened my competitive spirit a little bit. And I thought, well, what if we tried? So we tried last year and we won, but we still were way under our goal because we had a couple issues through the year, but it was still good enough to win. So that's why I'm hoping this year we can do better yet.
You'll have to move your truck. Semi's going out. Because of the weather, time's always crunching and you're just always in a hurry. It seems like it's never gonna get done in time, but it almost always does.
You got to go up kind of above and beyond if you're going for the top yields. You've got to use a lot of biologicals. You've got to use growth promotants, PGRs, and along with all the different fertilizers that you need. It was fun to have a goal and meet it. You know, I was kind of surprised that we won because we did have some challenges during the year. I didn't have the crop there that I wanted, but it was still good enough to win. It's really competition against myself. You know, I want to see how good I can be or what's the best I can produce on this ground up here. You know, we're a lot farther north than all those guys that are getting the big yields. But I think we're going to be able to push up. I don't know how close we'll get to them, but I think, you know, we'll be able to get in the neighborhood. And we've got more challenges up here. They've got their own challenges too, but I mean, we're just way farther north. Our growing season is a lot shorter. We have a lot less heat units, less sunlight, and all that translates into yield. Everybody wants everybody else to succeed, you know. Sure, there's some competition. You always watch, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. You can change a lot of different settings, you know, and you try to tweak everything to get it running just right. I wouldn't say I get bored. You can better utilize a farm's potential if you start gathering the data year after year. Will increase your yields, you know, in the end. This is one of those things we do with technology. I've just basically got to mark a point here, you know. Now I've got it marked on here and I can go back and find it later. I like that on there. You kind of can see the row unit running. You can see that the row cleaner's bouncing, but the unit itself is holding pretty true, and that's what you're trying to do to keep your depth consistent, keep that, you know, running solid, I guess would be a way to put it. Believe it or not, it's in Las Vegas, Nevada. It was my 50th birthday. I go into a tattoo parlor, and the name of the parlor was Precious Sluts Tattoo Parlor. The guy's name was Precious. It's Vegas, man, it's Vegas. So I sat down, 4 hours later, I come out with this.
You lose money some seasons, and that's why Dad has some cows, and he does a little bit of excavating jobs on the side. That way, you know, if something does go south, you can at least get yourself through it, you know, or maybe make a farm payment or something. I mean, the goal was 400 bushel. He ended up at like 307 or 314, which is really high, but I think he's always going to want to outdo himself a little bit. That's a lot of work.
There's not many occupations where you have to borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars just to go do your job, not knowing what your pay is going to be at the end of the 6-8 month period of growing the crop and marketing it. I do believe that farming is a very noble profession. There's not any other profession that takes as much risk, I think, just laying it out there in the dirt. So many things could happen right now. It could pour tonight, it could, you know, be in the 30s for the next week every night. It could lay there and the seed couldn't come up. There's a lot of money going through those tubes and out that system right there. The hope at the end of the day is you make a little bit of return. A little bit of return. Not getting rich, just get a little bit of return.
This segment brought to you in part by AgriGold.
It's very important to have good people. At the end of the day, you can't pay good people enough. Very important to have good people.
We're about done here.